I'm going to ask everybody to stand for a moment of silence, silent meditation. I want to take this moment to think about, again, and we've done this throughout the past few weeks, to think about the tragedy of the bridge collapse, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, and to think about those families that lost their loved ones. And let's hope the pain they're suffering passes more easily than we'd hoped for. And so also let's think about our first responders and everyone that has pitched in. And I think the governor has said this so eloquently, and so has the county executive and the mayor. We're Maryland strong, we're Baltimore tough, and just want to take that moment of silence to think about those folks. Okay, thank you. I'll now call on Councilman Ertel to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So, welcome everybody. Welcome to my colleagues here on the dais and to the staff and the county executive and all the invited guests here. I'd also like to welcome county employees, department heads, the media, the general public in attendance, watching this meeting via live stream. And we also have elected officials here today. And it's a big crowd, and we have some really strong elected officials here. So if I could ask those electeds and those former electeds to please stand so I can recognize you. Okay. Wait a minute. Stay. Please remain standing because I'm going to give you guys individual recognition. Okay, we have in the front former council member Johnny O. Sr. And we have Senator Chris West. We have Delegate Carl Jackson. And then flanking the right side are two very powerful women in the state legislature. We have Delegate Kathy Forbes, Delegate Sheila Ruth, and in the rear we have Senator Charles Sidnor and Sheriff Jay Fisher. Well, Scott, you were standing in the back and you were standing before, and State's Attorney Scott Schellenberger. Okay, if I missed anyone, they didn't stand up, so we'll move forward. Today is always one of the most special days in Baltimore County. Each year it's required by our county charter, the county executive presents the upcoming fiscal year's budget to the county council and lays out his vision for Baltimore County for the coming year and beyond. On behalf of the entire council, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our county executive, the Honorable John A. Olszewski Jr., as he submits the administration's budget for fiscal 2025. Mr. County Executive, welcome. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you and good morning, Council Chairman Patoka, members of the County Council, esteemed colleagues in county government, honored guests, residents of Baltimore County. It is my privilege to join you today to present Baltimore County's fiscal year 2025 budget. It's often said that budgets are an expression of our values. The document I present today does exactly that. It reaffirms our tireless commitment to support all of our residents and uplift all of our communities. I first stood before you in this very chamber 5 years ago to share the promise of a better Baltimore County, pledging that by working together and looking towards the future with optimism, we can push Baltimore County to reach its highest potential. As I deliver my sixth and potentially my last budget as county executive, I'm proud to say that we have delivered on that promise. We have truly built a better Baltimore County. Realizing this promise required us to overcome innumerable challenges, some historic and generational in scope, while others were quite literally footnotes. We were first blindsided by an $81 million deficit, hidden in 5-point font on page 94 of a budget book. But we refused to let the short-sighted decisions of the past jeopardize our future. Instead, we did what administrations before us had not. We were open and honest. We engaged the public. We leveraged the expertise of our employees. And we worked with leaders in every community to develop innovative, common sense, and bipartisan solutions to get us back on track. We comprehensively closed that deficit while also making record investments in our public schools, our law enforcement, and our core services. We were on our way. Then, that early progress was swiftly challenged by a once-in-a-generation health crisis that threatened not only the safety of our residents, but also our very way of life. Again, we refused to give up or back down. We again turned to our greatest resource, our employees, and implemented a pandemic response that drew statewide bipartisan praise, along with a vaccination plan that was one of the most efficient in the nation. Today, our region is reeling from yet another shocking new challenge. The tragic collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge took the lives of our neighbors. It threatened the livelihoods for thousands of our fellow residents. It has left a void in our harbor, in our skyline, and in our hearts. This tragedy is personal for me and so many others. The Key Bridge has been a symbol of our connections, our tight-knit community, and our culture. We mourn the loss of hardworking neighbors that we lost. We rally around the families who were impacted by the port closure, and we thank the incredible first responders and those already helping us to clear the channel, open the port, and rebuild our beloved bridge. Today, we're proud to be joined by some of the first responders who have been critical for the Key Bridge rescue and recovery efforts. Sergeant Michael Keller, Detective Kim Lankford, Officer First Class Cody Ordak, Officer First Class Michael Kolsevich, Officer First Class Robert Warnick, Officer First Class Michael Flaherty, as well as Fire Lieutenant Lewis Dixon, Fire Apparatus Operator Dana Pack, EMT Firefighter Haley Bowen, Bowley's Quarters Volunteer Chief Shannon Stallings, Lieutenant Chris Courtney, Firefighter Hunter Burton, and Firefighter Keith Schmidt. You are our heroes. Thank you for all that you do. In the face of these uncertainties, Baltimore County will continue to do everything we can to connect residents with needed resources and to provide small business supports. We will do whatever is needed to ensure we weather this disaster and emerge even stronger from it. That is what local government does. As we look back on all of the challenges we faced, we can see how they, in many ways, have demonstrated our resiliency and how they've driven our efforts to create a government that better serves and supports our people. Together, we strengthened our democracy. We passed historic lobbying reforms. We created, expanded, enhanced, and are now asking voters to enshrine the office of the Inspector General into Baltimore County's charter. We established the first ever Fair Election Fund, and this year's budget provides the first $1 million towards our new public financing system set to begin with the 2026 election cycle. We revitalized aging communities through massive community-driven efforts to breathe new life into places like Security Square Mall. Meanwhile, we launched more targeted, place-based initiatives to help reimagine neighborhoods like Essex, and at even a more granular level, places like Dundalk Village and Woodlawn Village. We built a more modern government, creating Baltimore County's first Department of Housing and Community Development, as well as the first dedicated Office of Transportation. We later launched the county's first free fixed route transit service, the Towson Loop. We established more responsive services like BC Stat, the county's first data-driven performance management system. We brought back bulk trash pickup for the first time in 3 decades. We stood up a 311 program and rapidly extended rural broadband to over 99% of all our homes. We led with our values, creating the offices of sustainability and diversity, equity, and inclusion to ensure those critical principles are embedded in the core of government, all the while assembling the most diverse leadership team in our county's history. We took other smaller but still bold steps too. We ensured that residents could pay for services with a credit card. We made double-side printing the default in Baltimore County, and we deployed intelligent electronic spreaders to bring the county in line with road salt best practices, common sense actions that are both good for the budget as well as the environment. We did all of this and more by listening to each other and believing in what is possible. And we must keep doing that in the future, as it's clear that our county and state will continue to face new challenges. We know that we face an uncertain budget future with the state, coinciding with the end of federal recovery dollars. At the same time, we face inflationary pressures that our families feel everywhere from the gas pump to the grocery store. This has created in many ways the perfect economic storm. But I will say it again, Baltimore County has never backed down before, and we won't do so now. This year's budget is a measured and responsible path forward that sustains our historic progress, continues to deliver on the promise of major projects across all of our communities. While our budget accomplishes all of this and more without any tax increases, we will also be honest about the challenges down the road so that future leaders have the foresight and preparation to continue this progress without the need to scour through footnotes. This budget and our many years of progress would not be possible without the partnership of our county council. I am grateful to each of you for your collaboration. Even though we may disagree on certain issues, we remain united in our commitment to moving Baltimore County forward. I'd also like to express my deep gratitude for an amazing network of friends and family, most especially to my daughter Daria and to my wife Marissa. Of course, thanks also goes to our entire Baltimore County team. This budget builds on their hard work, especially County Administrative Officer Stacy Rogers, Director of Budget and Finance Kevin Reed, our entire Budget and Finance office, and all of our department heads, as well as our hardworking employees. As we always do, the bulk of our budget invests in our most important asset, our employees. In recognition of their dedicated service to Baltimore County, we are continuing to provide mid-year cost of living increases, corresponding future wage adjustments for all of Baltimore County's general workforce. This year, we're also doing right by our employees by ending a split in healthcare costs, where those who were hired after 2007 paid more than those who were hired before that time. Now, we introduced this budget as we also prepare for our trailblazing CAO to enter into a well-deserved retirement. Stacy, it has been an honor to work alongside you, and we wish you the absolute best in your next steps. There's no doubt that your shoes will be hard to fill, but I am fully confident that DPWT Director DeAndrea Walker will continue to provide forward-thinking leadership that builds on your legacy. At its core, our budgets remain driven by and are a reflection of the people of Baltimore County. Together, we have fundamentally transformed how our neighbors engage with the leaders who represent them. For the 6th year in a row, we hosted our signature budget town hall series to directly hear from thousands of residents about their concerns, their ideas, and their aspirations. At a time when so many are skeptical about government, it is more critical than ever before to engage directly with our neighbors and not just listen, but ensure that our budget reflects and supports them. No matter who may ultimately succeed me, I know the people of this great county will continue to demand their seat at the head of the table for years to come. That's what building a better Baltimore County looks like. As a former BCPS teacher, parent to a BCPS second grader, and as county executive, education will always be my passion and priority. When we took office, we saw incredible needs. We knew we shouldn't be held back by aging infrastructure, failing air conditioners, overcrowding, and a lack of investment in the most important resource we have in our classroom, our educators. So we went to work to improve our county's education system from top to bottom. That begins with investing in the talented professionals who educate our children. Year after year, we have done more than just say that this is a priority. We have demonstrated it. Over the past 6 years alone, our administration has provided a total of more than $200 million more than the state-required maintenance of effort, ensuring we are making investments to provide educators with everything they need to focus on student success. As a result, we have taken Baltimore County teacher wages from the middle of the pack to among the highest in the state, helping us to attract, retain, and reward talented educators, athletic trainers, and the support staff who nurture and guide our children towards a brighter future. That commitment continues today. For the 6th year in a row, Baltimore County's budget delivers another major investment in BCPS, providing $41 million above maintenance of effort. This budget not only delivers on BCPS's request, but goes even further to help deliver more bus drivers and more teachers to help reduce class sizes and give our children the attention they need and deserve to succeed throughout their educational careers. This budget also raises the starting salary of an educator in Baltimore County to $60,000, fulfilling the obligation to the Blueprint for Maryland's Future 2 years ahead of schedule. Special thanks to BCPS Superintendent, Dr. Miriam Rogers, for her renewed and strengthened partnership. You have been an open, accessible, and collaborative leader, and I remain grateful for all that you do on behalf of our students and educators every day. Thank you. We know our educators and support staff are vital to our children's future, but so too are the school buildings themselves. Failing to invest in these buildings tell our students, our employees, and our families that they're not worth investing in. We've come a long way from the days when the county and state leaders would squabble over something as common sense as air conditioning. Today, every school in Baltimore County is air conditioned, but that's just the beginning. We have provided over $800 million towards our school infrastructure needs. This investment has helped us create over 3,000 new school seats to empower a new generation of student learning. That investment has allowed us to open 7 brand new schools, with 2 more on the way this year. Even as we celebrate these successes, we continue to deliver on the promise of other major projects, like a new Lansdowne High School that's currently under construction, moving towards the groundbreaking of a new Delaney High School and a like-new Towson High School, as well as a new Scotts Branch Elementary School, complete with millions more to support all of these projects in this year's budget. To ensure we stay on pace with an ambitious capital program, including a new career and technology education center, needed additions to Patapsco High School, and meaningful overcrowding solutions in both the southeast and northeast portions of the county. We will be requesting the public to approve $331 million in this year's referendum to keep all of our projects moving. Education is an essential stepping stone for everyone, including those who want to learn a new trade, expand their skill set, and earn higher wages for their family. More than ever, our community colleges have been a launching pad for students of all ages who want to pursue their dream in higher education. We've been proud to partner with the Community College of Baltimore County and President Dr. Sandra Curtin-Nitis to ensure these doors are open for anyone looking for high quality and accessible education. That starts with freezing in-county tuition every year we've been in office, enabling students to pursue more opportunities close to home. This year is no different, and we're proud to yet again hold these tuition costs in place for a record 6th year. Last year, we went a step further to deliver life-changing results for Baltimore County residents when we announced a partnership that made near universal community college a reality, providing free community college for any Baltimore County family making less than $150,000 a year. Even amid state cuts this year, we are proud to continue our commitment to deliver that near universal community college because a better Baltimore County sustains the progress we have made together. Much like our schools, our public library system is an incredible resource for learners of all ages. Libraries are community anchors in neighborhoods across the county where everyone is welcome to learn, discover, and be themselves. Under the leadership of CEO Sonia Alcantara-Antoine, the Baltimore County Public Library System continues to be a model for 21st century library services, operating with reading programs for our young people, digital literacy programs for older adults, and resources to help small businesses thrive. We are proud to have eliminated all overdue fines to ensure that all residents have equitable services and access to these life-changing resources. Over 6 years, our administration has proudly invested more than $227 million into our public libraries, and our fiscal 25 budget builds on this legacy with over $35 million more for new, upgraded, and improved buildings countywide. Building stronger neighborhoods means ensuring every resident lives, studies, and works in a community where they feel safe and where they are safe. That starts with making the upstream investments we have prioritized: better schools, better access to libraries, recreation programs, parks, youth activities, behavioral and mental health services, opioid treatment, and violence interruption programs. Eliminating the conditions that can push people towards criminal activity in the first place makes us all safer. But safe communities also require responsive, respectful, and vigilant law enforcement. Shortly after taking office, we resolved a years-long dispute to ensure that our officers, as well as our 911 personnel, correctional officers, and sheriff deputies received well-deserved pay increases that have now made them among the best compensated in the region. Over the course of 6 years, we've continued to make historic commitments in our police officers, and we're currently engaged in discussions to increase officer pay to record proportions in the years ahead. We've invested in police stations countywide, as well as programs that enable our officers to take their vehicles home with them. For officers and firefighters alike, we've also brought back a program that helps with recruitment, retention, and keeps more of our public safety leaders on the job for longer. These efforts are complemented by innovative and bipartisan legislation like Baltimore County SAFE Act, which helps keep guns out of the hands of violent criminals, and the Smart Policing Act to modernize our policing practices. And just last week, we joined partners in Annapolis like Speaker Adrian Jones to ban dangerous Glock switches, helping to keep illegal machine guns off our streets. Our budget today builds on that record, including over $22 million for a new and improved Wilkins Police Precinct, millions for upgrades to our support operations, and just like with our schools, a planned referendum request for more than $25 million for renovations and additions at the Essex Police Precinct. In addition, the budget includes nearly $1 million in 38 positions to support the expansion of the school crossing guard program. This budget also supports regional assets across the county and throughout Greater Baltimore, like the Shock Trauma Center at the University of Maryland, where I'm proud to say we're doubling our investment to continue supporting those institutions that support our dedicated heroes. Thank you to Chief McCullough and the men and women of the Baltimore County Police Department for their hard work and dedication to our communities. Later today, this incredible department is officially celebrating 150 years in service to Baltimore County, and we're thrilled to congratulate them, invest in them, and continue to partner with them for years to come. Our firefighters and emergency service professionals under the leadership of Chief Rund also rush into danger each and every day, putting their lives on the line to save others and keep us safe. From the beginning, we've invested in better facilities and equipment for these heroes to ensure their gear keeps them safe, including nearly $75 million for vehicles and new apparatus, a second set of turnout gear, and nearly $5 million for equipment washing stations. This budget moves us even further with $11.5 million towards the long-awaited new Catonsville Fire Station, and there will be another $22 million in this year's referenda for a Sparrows Point Fire Station to continue supporting these heroes. Much like our police officers, we continue to work with our labor partners on a long-term agreement that will significantly increase salaries for the brave men and women of our fire department. And we will be taking steps to begin implementing the findings of an independent third-party evaluation to improve fire services. Recognizing, too, that our volunteer fire companies remain a vital public safety partner, we have also taken steps to help them save lives by allocating $1 million in federal grants to volunteer fire associations. We've boosted medic-attended pay, and we've provided a second set of turnout gear for high-response volunteers. Throughout our time in office, we've also expanded their revolving loan fund and are proud to do so again this year to a total of $2 million in support of our amazing volunteers. Making our community safer and healthier with connections to great schools, parks, and community anchors is a priority. It's also the reason that new families are excited to move to Baltimore County. Our connections make Baltimore County stronger and more vibrant. Nowhere are those connections more evident than in our roadways that guide residents towards new careers, educational opportunities, and to the most important place, home. Since the start of our administration, we've directed over $100 million for road resurfacing, curb and gutter projects that our residents depend on, with additional funds in this year's budget to continue this progress countywide. We continue to use data and best practices to inform our decisions, having recently rolled out Baltimore County's new paver system, a technology that enables us to scan our roadways and ensure our resurfacing decisions are made equitably and responsibly. Sustainability remains a core part of our vision for a better Baltimore County. When we took office, Baltimore County lacked a climate action plan as well as a chief sustainability officer, and far too many environmental programs had been left to wither on the vine. We made immediate changes, restarting beloved initiatives and embarking on new ones to move our county into a greener future. We restarted our glass recycling program and have since expanded to textiles, electronics, and even oyster shell recycling opportunities as well. We've invested millions into our Operation Retree and urban street tree programs to ensure that historically underinvested communities aren't left behind and have equitable access to greenery. To date, over 55,000 trees have been planted under this administration, with even more on the way this year. For years, our neighbors along Back River also struggle with midges, a constant nuisance for homeowners, boaters, and visitors alike. Together with our state partners, we started a first-of-its-kind effort to address those annoying insects and have seen incredible success to date. This budget incorporates both our successful midge mitigation and urban street tree efforts into our operating budget, enabling us to sustain our commitment for years to come. Preserving green space remains a priority so that we can continue to build sustainable communities, enhance our recreational opportunities, and protect more than 70,000 acres of agricultural land and open space that are central to Baltimore County's past and to our future. In addition to our evolving work to support and promote local farms, we've also established our first ever agricultural advisory board, built a dedicated agricultural office, which will be further enhanced this year with an additional fellow, and have or are in process of acquiring over 314 acres of open space for residents to enjoy, including the planned acquisition of the former CP Crane property in Middle River, which we were excited to announce earlier this year. Our Recreation and Parks Department has been a force for good for 75 years. Throughout my term, we've provided historic levels of funding for rec and parks projects to support residents across Baltimore County and to ensure the department continues to be that steady force. Including this year's proposed capital funding, we have delivered a staggering 6-year capital investment of nearly $220 million in new parks, park acquisitions, park enhancements, critical facility renovation programs, and more. As a result, our administration is delivering 7 new major parks across Baltimore County within the next year, including finally cutting the ribbon for our newest skate park at Hazelwood and the new Sparrows Point Park. In addition, we'll be opening 2 brand new state-of-the-art recreation activity centers in Rosedale and Middle River this year to ensure residents are better connected with opportunities to play, compete, and learn. This budget includes $12.3 million for park development and enhancements, $4.4 million for park acquisition, $1 million for recreation facility renovations, and $2 million for athletic and ball diamond renovations and enhancements. In addition, we're allocating an additional $10 million in federal funding, bringing our total capital investment to approximately $30 million this year alone. A critical partner in this work are the Recreation and Nature Councils, who contribute thousands of volunteer hours to help provide much-needed support for programs across our county. As a former rec kid myself, and more recently as an assistant coach for my daughter's indoor soccer rec team, I know just how vital these opportunities are for our children. But as county executive, I've learned for as much as we've invested in capital infrastructure, we have much more to do, including the need to modernize our practices and ensure legal compliance. This year's budget makes a major down payment on right-sizing the department's historical underfunding with an expansion over $6 million, representing a more than 30% increase into our recreation department. This expansion will provide considerable new county positions and will mean safer parks, improved services, and better experiences for children and families alike. It will mean that we can better support our rec and nature councils with more resources and solutions, such as providing goals, lining fields, and ensuring a world-class, consistent experience throughout all of Baltimore County. It means increased access to programs and spaces at 23 community and recreation activity centers that were formerly open by permit only. And it means increased hours for camps, after-school care, drop-in programs, and more, as well as expanded opportunities at our cherished places like Banneker Community Center and Oregon Ridge Park. As we've always done, the department will continue to engage in ongoing and collaborative discussions with the councils and the public to identify how we can work together to provide modern, equitable, and transparent services for everyone, regardless of zip code, for the next 75 years and beyond. Our older adults, who make up approximately 1/4 of Baltimore County's population, are a vital part of our communities and our lives. Investing in them and their ability to age with dignity is a priority for us. In our first year in office, we launched No Senior Eats Alone Day to combat social isolation. We created the Because program to fund necessary modifications to safety, and we partnered with the Baltimore County Volunteer Center to create new opportunities for people to connect and give back. Since the start of our administration, we've invested more than $27 million to construct new senior centers and improve existing ones, including an $8 million expansion of the Woodlawn Senior Center, which will open later this year. We're continuing this work with funding needed for improvements at the Parkville Senior Center parking lot so that we can deliver on our promise to seniors in every community, as well as our referendum request to keep the Hereford Senior Center and Jacksonville Senior Center projects on track. We're continuing to invest in attainable housing throughout the county as well, so that residents can achieve their dream of home ownership, put down new roots, and live without the fear of eviction hanging over them. We passed the Home Act to eliminate discrimination by source of income, model legislation that has since become state law. And we passed a foundational housing package that is enabling us to eliminate blight and build better connected communities. We saw this work come to fruition earlier this year when we partnered with MCB Real Estate and Goldman Sachs to announce the largest attainable housing deal in Baltimore County's history. This is a major step forward and a model that we can continue to deliver innovative housing solutions. That's why our budget this year builds on that promise with an additional $3.3 million for the Housing Opportunities Fund to support projects like that MCB deal and literally build on our success in the years ahead. Because of efforts like this, we're confident that we're going to not only meet but exceed both our moral and legal obligations in the housing space. Just as every resident deserves vibrant communities, secure housing, and access to world-class schools and open spaces, they also deserve an inclusive and equitable government that addresses their needs directly. That's why we've codified the Office of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion into law. It's why we've named the county's first Chief of Immigrant Affairs, and it's why we created the New Americans Task Force to help address the concerns of our immigrant communities, who now account for more than 12% of our residents. To continue ensuring that our government services work for all communities, this budget also funds expansions in our immigrant affairs offices with an additional fellow and funding for enhanced translation and language services. This means that every department will have its own budget to ensure translation services for all residents. This is another historic, balanced budget, one that is keeping our promises and responding to the demands of our communities. It's what a better Baltimore County is all about. But a better Baltimore County also means being honest regarding the future. And so, even as we celebrate this budget and what it's able to do, we acknowledge that Baltimore County will face tough decisions in the years ahead. The reality is this. For decades, Baltimore County failed to invest in our capital resources. For example, much like we did with our comprehensive review of school facilities, we recently completed a survey of all our government buildings to identify a long-term path to modernize buildings after those decades of underinvestment. And similar to the billions of dollars we identified in unmet school building needs, we have also found hundreds of millions of dollars in deferred investments and maintenance across our county. These disinvestments affect priorities like parks, senior centers, athletic fields, and the other assets we hear about at our town halls. But they also affect the more mundane, the equally essential, roads, trash and recycling centers, and other assets that make this county run. These needs are significant, and inflation will only continue to make projects even more expensive. Every 2 years, residents decide whether to authorize borrowing to pay for these critical investments. This year, we're requesting nearly $600 million in borrowing authority. Because of inflationary pressures and to simply meet our immediate needs, this is $244 million than originally anticipated. $244 million more than originally anticipated. It's an amount that is necessary to ensure that priority projects already committed to remain on track. Without those dollars, much needed and demanded services and projects, senior centers, police stations, firehouses, and any number of schools would be delayed or deferred for years, if not outright canceled. We think voters should and will approve this borrowing. But if they do, these funds must be paid back. Doing so will be difficult, if not impossible, without significant new resources or significant reductions in county services in the years ahead. But we shouldn't be afraid or shy away from these challenges. We have faced and overcome far more difficult ones before. That is what local government is supposed to do: come together and solve problems. That's been the promise on which we've centered ourselves and delivered since day one. My unwavering belief in this work is rooted in the 4th chapter of Ecclesiastes, which reads in verses 9 and 10, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good return for their labor. If either one of them falls down, one can help the other one up. But pity anyone who falls down and has no one to help them up. I have no doubt that we will continue to keep that promise to be there for each other in Baltimore County, because that is what makes not just our county better, it is what makes us better. It's how we overcame fiscal short-sightedness and a culture of mistrust. It's how we persevered during the most dangerous public health crisis in a century. It's how we came together and will continue to come together and will rise from the tragic collapse of the Key Bridge. With sustained collaboration with our county council, the school system, state leaders, community stakeholders, and the public we are so proud to serve, we will continue transforming the Baltimore County we love into the better Baltimore County we've always deserved. Because the truth is, even when you're the best, you can still be better. It's my hope and my prayer that we are always striving together to be an even better Baltimore County. Thank you, and God bless.